The 5 potential dangers of fast escalation and how to deal with them. Now that I have shown you why it's important to escalate as fast as possible, I think it's only fair we discuss the reasons why most men don't. When I talk about fast escalations, I'm talking about moving from hello to sex in time periods from about 10 minutes to 4 hours. Most of my encounters take place between 2 to 4 hours, but I've also had a good number of escalations happen at the half-hour mark and a few around 10 to 15 minutes. If this seems a bit out of your current reality, I understand. I certainly remember the first few times it happened to me before I started doing it consistently. To be honest, I kind of freaked out a little bit. I had a slight issue with women and started to think that they're all sluts or that they could be manipulated by any guy if he pushed the right buttons to have sex very quickly. Instead of taking issue with it, I just decided that if it was in fact true, I sure as hell would rather be the type of guy that was sleeping with them quickly than the boyfriend at the receiving end whose girlfriend is getting seduced by some skilled pickup artist. Maybe it's not your thing. Perhaps you really want to get to know a girl before getting intimate with her. And that's just fine. But either way, the education is extremely valuable. It provides an even deeper understanding of the female psyche. Yes, there are challenges to this, but if you're prepared for the challenges and know how to deal with each one, you'll actually find it easier than slow seduction. In fact, you just may find it impossible to go back to playing the slow game. The 5 possible challenges to fast escalation. Number 1, lack of escalation knowledge and technique. The first challenge most guys have when trying to escalate quickly is that they have no concept of the process involved and the different skills that are required for it. In my mind, there are 3 distinct skills that need to be mastered in order to pull off this type of thing. The first is a thorough understanding of the DiCarlo escalation ladder. You need to know how to touch a woman in ways that make her feel comfortable and guarantee she won't reject you. The DiCarlo escalation ladder is a step-by-step process that takes you smoothly from eye contact and conversation to sex without any large leaps for a woman to object to. At the same time, it contains no unnecessary steps that may slow you down. The second skill is a thorough understanding of windows of opportunity. You need to know what these windows look like and what the appropriate action is for each one. Remember, windows are neutral. They are open to interpretation, but you should never, ever try to escalate after she shows certain disinterest. The DiCarlo escalation ladder and windows of opportunity go hand in hand in that you should always time your overt escalations immediately after you perceive an open window. Last but not least, you need to understand sexual tension. Sexual tension creates the pull which fuels the momentum you're going to need to make a fast escalation happen. Number 2, and the second challenge for fast escalation, is a greater chance of rejection from escalating before she's ready. Now, although this is different from the first challenge, it is solved the exact same way. Rejection does not usually happen because of lack of attraction. It actually comes from an improper understanding of escalation. For example, a woman could be very attracted, but if you make a critical error such as leaning in awkwardly for a kiss from 3 feet away, she's going to reject you. Conversely, you will have many women who are not initially attracted to you go along with your escalations if you trigger receptivity with your actions. It's an automatic reflex that happens when you pass a test or frame the escalation as a reward for her compliance. You can get so good with this stuff that rejection will never even cross your mind. You will live in a reality where no matter what you do will work and women will respond favorably to whatever escalations you attempt. Number 3, challenge to fast escalation. Not knowing how to answer. Do you do this with every girl? Instead of getting into a moral discussion, I'm just going to tell you exactly what a woman wants to hear and let you adapt it to your situation. No, in fact, I dated my last girlfriend for almost a month before having sex with her. I just don't know what it is. I can't control myself around you. And although I can't explain it, and yes, I know it's fast, I just believe in going with the flow of things. Okay. Number 4 challenge to fast escalation. Falling into the one-night stand category. This is perhaps the biggest challenge. Now, maybe you want a one-night stand. Perhaps you want to have sex with a bunch of women only one time and never see them again. If you do, that's fine and you can ignore this section. But for me, if a woman is worth sleeping with once, she's worth sleeping with a few times and exploring the possibility of including her in my life. There are 2 factors at play here. The first factor is the quality of sex. A woman is much more likely to want to see you again if you're good in bed. I'm not going to go into much detail here because it's a subject covered at length in many other books, but if you're not good, just know that it could be a possible reason you're not getting callbacks from women you've slept with. The second factor is a delicate balance of caring for her without coming across as needy. The way I look at it is that immediately after sex, I will provide her with as much affection as she craves and no more. Typically, I will hold a woman very close to me in a protective manner after sex. I will talk to her and show her that I still relate to her and enjoy her as much as I did before we had sex. If she wants to stay over, if she wants you to hold her, do it. Some women may feel the need to leave immediately after sex. Maybe they're not comfortable or they don't know how to act. Maybe they just don't sleep well with someone else there and they really do have an early morning the next day. This is okay. Let them go. When a woman wants to leave, be very understanding and do not try to get her to change her mind. Never try to resist, argue, try to get her to stay over, or try to make more plans with her. Just be 110% cool with it. Drop her off at home or walk her to her car in a caring and protective manner. These guidelines will set up the encounter in her mind so she is not sure what you want, but is secretly hoping you call. Number 5, and the last challenge to fast escalation, is not knowing how to follow up correctly. If you want to see a woman again after sleeping with her very quickly, I suggest calling her back the next evening. Some women have the belief that if he doesn't call the next day, it was a one-night stand. Now, it's not always necessary, and sometimes it won't be possible for you to call the next day, so just call a day or 2 later and it'll be cool. Some guys wonder if calling the next day means you're showing too much interest. Here's how I look at it. Once you have had sex with a woman, you have won the game. You have all the power. Before you have had sex with her, she had the power to flake on you. But now, you have the power to flake on her. So the nature of the call is not to get something else from her, but only to make her feel good about the decision she made. In other words, you're doing it as a gesture of kindness. Most of the time on a follow-up call, I'll just see how she's doing and continue connecting with her just like on our first date. This phone call can last anywhere from 10 minutes up to 3 hours. And if you do end up spending 3 hours on the phone with her, consider her yours. Here's another interesting fact. Sometimes when you call the next day, she won't answer and won't even call you back. Don't be discouraged. If she doesn't call you back in 2 days, try again.